Real people, real opinions, Real Talk Radio. The multi-award winning Niall Boylan Show.
Ireland's classic hits.
I want to read this out to you first, and it's about social welfare fraud. And it says, "Hi Niall, I know you detest social welfare fraudsters just as much as I do, which is why I'm sending you this email. My neighbour is currently on disability allowance and is out of work for years. Her husband is her carer, and I can say categorically there's nothing wrong with this woman in the slightest. She minds her grandchildren every day while our grown-up kids work. I regularly see her out doing her gardening when the weather is good. There is nothing stopping this woman from doing some work, but instead she stays at home and gets paid by the state, and so does her husband for pretending to care for her. I work my ass off every single day to keep a roof over my family's head. It really annoys me to see my neighbour get away with this scam while I work hard barely to make ends meet. They're going on holidays this year too. She told me, my wife one day, while she was out in the garden, she said that she is heading off to Lanzarote with her husband for 2 weeks. The state is paying for that too, I'm sure. I'm getting sick of this each day. I become more frustrated and I feel like I want to report her for social welfare fraud. I am only one step away from doing it. My wife said she wouldn't do it because she thinks it would be bad karma and could possibly bring unnecessarily trouble if they were found out. I was wondering, has any of your listeners ever reported someone from social welfare fraud, and should I do it? Now, so should she do it? If you knew, leaving aside that story, and if what she says is true, it clearly is fraud. They're defrauding the state, which is, by the way, not uncommon. But would you report somebody? Let me go to Helen. Helen, you're in Ireland's Classic Hits Radio. How you doing, Helen?
Hello, Niall. I definitely would report to somebody if they had, the riches of their earnings, sprawled around in big cars and caravans and you name it. I would definitely support them.
Would you?
I mean, I'd report them. I think it's not fair.
Unfortunately, I think are you on a speakerphone or something, Helen?
No, Pat.
Okay.
I've just the radio.
Oh,
the
sir.
radio turned off now.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, because I could hear you talking.
Yeah, I think it's illegal, and it should be brought before the courts and everything,
And what do you say to people, who will say, "Oh, that'll bring you nothing but bad luck, and that'll bring you bad karma, and you shouldn't be snitching on people. There's worse things happening in this country."
Well, it wouldn't bring me bad look or anything, because I'd be telling the truth.
Well,
More people are out there trying to make ends meet, but they wouldn't do that,
And you believe it's not fair on the taxpayer?
It's not at all, no.
Well, of course, fraud is rampant. Social welfare fraud is the most common fraud in this country. And they don't have enough staff to catch everybody who does it. So, the social welfare system is based on honesty.
That is very sad, though,
But they couldn't.
They haven't enough people to catch them,
Yeah, but see, they couldn't. It wouldn't be viable. I remember many years ago, the revenue commissioners did this crackdown on, I think it was overseas accounts or something like that, right? And they brought in a team of investigators, and people were given an amnesty at the time to come forward, and all this carry on. Anyway, it cost them, I don't know the exact figure, so don't quote me, but it cost them something like, I don't know, 2 billion to do this, and they only got 1 billion back in money. So in other words, it costs more than it actually. So if the social welfare were to hire enough investigators to go around checking that every single parent didn't have a husband living with them or a boyfriend living with them, to check that everybody who's a carer was genuinely a carer, it would just cost too much money, and they wouldn't get that money back again. So they rely on people's honesty.
Yeah, you see, these people that do that, they're not frightened of anything. They keep on. I mean, if they're going to, if they're going to get away with it, sure, we'll get away with it. It'll be fine,
And most people do get away with it.
They do get away with it.
Every now and again, what the Department of Social Protection do is they do catch people all of the time, but they don't bring them to court because it would be too costly for the state. So what they'll do is, out of every 100 or so cases of catching people, they'll bring one person to court, and that will appear in the newspaper, and that usually frightens other people to come forward and be honest. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's what they do. So what would you say to those people who think it's none of your business, Helen? Don't be getting involved now.
Oh, I wouldn't mind. I stand up for myself. I stand up and tell them that they were dishonest and that they shouldn't be doing it. Because one way or another, they will be caught somewhere along the line. I don't care what you say.
They'll slip up.
they will. Something will happen. They'll be caught.
Yeah.
It doesn't always be rosy for them, you know.
So, well, stay there, Helen, for a second, because let me go to Ross as well. Ross, how you doing?
Good evening, Niall. How are you going?
Good, Ross. Now, Ross, you heard Helen. She believes it's your duty. It's not fair on the taxpayer. And you have a duty, basically, to report people if you know they're doing something wrong.
Nah,
Nah.
stay out of it. Nothing to do with you. No, nothing to do with you. I'm a taxpayer and it does bother me. Plain and simple. Yeah, no. Self and my wife are working. We're taxpayers, like.
So you and your wife are taxpayers. You're working hard. I don't know, you paying a mortgage?
No.
Okay. Well, you're paying a rent or whatever, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So the guy next door is living with his girlfriend. She's getting the house for practically nothing off the state. He's working every single day, and you find out he's claiming the dole. They're having the life of Riley. You know they're scamming because he befriends you over the back wall garden and he's telling you all the scams he's up to. Would you report him?
Nope. Doesn't bother me in the slightest. Doesn't put in or out on me. Wouldn't. Does once it doesn't affect me.
But it does affect you. But of course it affects you.
No.
Because if everybody was honest and everybody, say, paid their taxes and everybody only claimed what they're entitled to, the tax bill would be lower. You'd pay less tax.
Okay, let's.
Or you'd have more services.
It's the Irish government we're talking about. If everyone did all of a sudden tomorrow turn honest and the money was there, they'd still taxes to the hilt. So.
Yeah, but you can't get involved in kind of whataboutery. And I understand what you're saying. There's bigger issues in this country. You've got massive companies who are getting away with billions in taxes in this country, right? In corporation tax and all that kind of stuff. And they go after the little guy. Yeah. I understand the point you're making. But you can't get involved in what about this or what about that or should they do this? That doesn't matter. The point is that if we all have a duty, let me give you an example. You're walking down the road, Ross, right? And in your housing estate or wherever you live, and you see somebody, your typical burglar climbing in a window of somebody's house, a broken window. You see them getting into someone's house. Would you ring the police?
Yeah, of course you would.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. So you're spotting somebody committing a crime. They're stealing something. But that's exactly what the social welfare fraud is doing. They're stealing something. They're stealing tax money, your money. So why wouldn't you report it?
For sure, the government are stealing money with years.
But see, you're doing the whataboutery again. I know that. But we've bigger fish to fry. I understand that. But we're all part of the cost.
It's different. Someone climbing in now. Come on now, in all fairness.
What's different about it?
Someone climbing in a window, a burglar, all right?
Yeah, to rob the place.
To rob a house.
Yeah,
and someone actually living and getting something off the state. Like, they're too chalk and cheese.
No, it's not chalk and cheese. It's theft. No, hold on. It's theft.
Yeah, theft. Yeah, but like breaking into someone's house, going into someone's home, ransacking their privacy, you know what I mean? Stealing their items. Now, if I saw a burglar climbing into the social welfare scammer's house, off you go. I'll even bring the man around and open the doors for you and give you an alibi. But like the likes of like normal people, if you see a burglar breaking into someone's house, like they're going into their private space. Forget about what they're going to carry out. Like what it's.
And do you think it's snitching? Is that what they call snitching?
Different.
Is that called? What? Is it called being a snitch?
Which now, being a snitch?
Yeah, I mean, is that a kind of real Irish thing that we don't want to be referred to as a snitch?
There's plenty of stitches out there, and I'm telling you, the social welfare have people on their payroll as well as rats. So, yeah.
Well, it's easy for them nowadays. So social media has made it so easy.
And you know what, as well, Niall, we don't have to worry about this reporting or that because Ireland is full of so many begrudgers. There's plenty of people out there to rat you out. So,
yeah.
But as for me, personally, I wouldn't. If I saw someone breaking into a house, of course you do something about that. But also as well, like with the cost of living being so high, some people actually, I'm not blanketing everyone now, okay? I'm not saying it's good, but some people are actually, it's a last resort for them. They've no choice but to scam it. You get me?
I know, I understand what you're saying.
I know people that have worked their whole lives. They're between jobs, okay, and they're struggling to get a payment off the social welfare. And they're barely getting a payment. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. I was unemployed this is why I have zero time for social welfare and why I don't care. I was unemployed I was doing a course to better myself and got job and all from it. But because my wife was earning so much money, the social welfare decided to give me €9.40 a week because I wasn't entitled to any more. And I working as long as, since I could walk. Uncles had farms and my father had his own lorries, and I was put to working my whole life. And once I could work legally, I was working legally and paying tax. And I was unemployed for about 6 months. And €9.40 was all they offered me. So to be honest with you, screw the social welfare, because the second you're waiting months and weeks for your payment, but the second your child turns 18, the day after, your children's allowance is stopped. So to be honest, that's my personal view of it.
Okay, well, we'll stay there for a second.
Affect me personally.
Okay, well, if it doesn't affect you, okay, that's fine. Eamon, you're on Ireland's Classic Radio. Stay there, Ross. Eamon, you've been listening to Ross there. He wouldn't report it. None of his business.
Well, you 100% would report it, yeah. It should be, Ross, it is your business too. And as you said there, the second you're 18, the payments stopped coming in. You only got €9 there. You've been off work whenever you were off work for 6 months. The reason why you probably only got £9 is because they're so overstretched as it is, full of fraudsters. If there was less of them, there might be more going to you. You can't justify not reporting someone stealing money from the social welfare of the government because there's taxpayers.
No, there was nothing to do with that. No, they means tested me. I got it broken down off them because I made noise over it. I got them to break it down, and I had one dependent at the time. Okay, I've 3 children now, but it's going back a long time now. I'm going back nearly 10 years. All right, I had one dependent and rent and everything, but they means tested me. I got my rate, okay, what I was entitled to, and then it was minus means, and I ended up coming out with €9.40.
Hardly work collecting.
So it takes the sky there every month. But you know what? Do you know what else really, really? I fought it for a while, but sure you're at nothing. I was there going to the social welfare office trying to sort it out, and there was people going in with high vises on, signing on, and not a word.
Yeah, I know.
And they throw you out money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sorry, Eamon. You know, there is a sense in Ireland, Eamon, of, snitches get stitches. And Irish people, you remember when Leo Varadkar did that very famous promotion?
I do, yeah.
What's it? Fraudsters cheat us all, or whatever it is. Social welfare fraudsters cheat us all. Or they're stealing from us all, or whatever the catchphrase was at the time. But he got lambasted for it. And he apologised later. And, this whole idea of encouraging people to snitch. It's not within us as Irish people to be snitches, is it?
Well, I don't know how to answer that, to be honest with you, but, I mean, at the same time as a taxpayer, they're stealing money from you. Why should they get extra money, extra benefits when they're lying through their teeth?
But the Irish people don't see it that way.
When
they see them as chancers.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, chancers, yeah. Chancers, yeah.
Which doesn't sound quite as bad as thieves.
During the boom as well, a lot of money was sent out of the country.
So, sorry, Ross, what did you say during the boom? What?
A lot of money was sent out of the country as well. Like, if go from the boom to, like, maybe 5-6 years ago, even just before, a couple of years before COVID, I remember there was a big report on something like there was 3 billion or something sent out of the country in the space of a few years from people that weren't actually living here.
Oh, that's right.
I can't remember the exact figures.
It was a ridiculous amount of money being claimed in children's allowance, was too, for people who weren't even living in the country, or children that weren't even in this country.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
And
sure. Do you see the
COVID?
Okay, well, hang on. One at a time. Sorry, Eamon, what did you say?
That COVID pandemic payment, that was the biggest scam going ever, right? Because I know numerous people, they might have been working one night a week last picking 50 quid. And now all of a sudden they were getting 350
yeah.
a month.
I know. There was loads of students, particularly students.
For a month. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I was working all through the pandemic. I didn't get any benefits or anything like that, and I was seeing people going out in the piss, smoking the wacky tobacco, the poster bank, and that was my money. But did I report them? I didn't, to be fair to me, because obviously I knew them. But And to be fair, no, I mean that's the COVID payment. That wasn't the worst of it because that was kind of the government allowing them to have €250. That's kind of a bit different.
Well, the
than
problem with the
from
COVID
social
payment
welfare.
was it wasn't being checked because they didn't have time. They brought it in a panic. The government decided to close the country down, and they had to give people money to live on. So there was no organisation in it, no real administration in it. It was just anybody who applies for it, and once they have a PPS number and had a job, give it to them. So there was no means testing in it. I knew two people who worked in a cinema, two young people. They were students, and they were both doing weekend jobs. And they were getting the 350. The two of them moved to Spain for a year and a half and rented out an apartment in Spain with the money they were collecting here in Ireland. So they were getting 700 quid a week in Ireland, and they moved to Spain for 2 years. So they were living the life. They couldn't wait. They were shitting themselves that COVID was going to end because they were living the life.
Well, yeah, I mean, Jesus, I don't blame them at all. I'd be dead. I'd be doing that too. But coming back to it, if I'm, in the car in the morning going out to work, and I see my neighbour next door who's, let's say, he's on disability, quote unquote disability, I see him up a ladder, cleaning his gutters, pulling down a tree, and you had John on last night there sitting around with his wonky leg. He can easily
With his wonky leg, yeah.
Yeah, with his wonky leg. Things like that really piss me off a bit. It's this sense of, it's almost like a sense of entitlement. They sit on their arse.
Oh, don't even. Now,
it's
see,
small-
he'll
small
want to come on.
minority,
Now, you
small
see what you've
minority,
done now?
small minority.
He'll want to come on now. You know what I mean?
I saw him today actually going applying for a job I did up in Dublin.
Did you?
I did, yeah.
There's a joke here. I sense something funny.
Here, I have a good one for you.
Say it, but yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes, Ross.
I know someone who's on disability for bad lungs and they smoke.
I remember years ago, I knew a guy who used to work on the docks, and he was out of work for 20 years because he injured himself on the docks and hurt his back. And regularly he was out doing the garden, moving paving stones, and then I seen him up on his chimney one day putting up a satellite dish, and he was out of work for 20 years because of his back, his bad back. He injured on the docks.
See, that's a piss take.
Of course, it's
That's
a piss
an
take.
absolute piss take.
But see, what they did in England, here's the biggest scam in this country is, or one of the biggest scams, is disability payments. Because they did a huge crackdown about 10, I remember we were talking about it on the air actually about 7 or 8 years ago in the UK, where everybody on disability was asked to come in and be checked by a doctor. And they found that something like, I don't know the exact figure, but say 50%, were quite capable of working. There was nothing actually really wrong with them at all. They were quite, see, people just keep signing up for the disability. Now, I don't know, I've never had to sign for it, so I don't know how you do it or how you get it.
The disability payment in the UK is atrocious, though. It's really low.
Mm.
I've heard that before now as well, that like anyone getting disability in the UK is getting every single benefit they can because Ireland is like really good compared to it. It's something like the disability payment is only like £80 or something. It's ridiculously low in England.
But they're in a different system. They're in a system, so you might only get that for your disability, but you also get universal credit. So they don't have social welfare anymore in the UK. It's gone. So they have a thing called universal credit, and it works.
Right.
I have to say, it's a much fairer system. And the way it works is that everybody's entitled to a set amount of money. Everybody, even people who work. So everybody's entitled to, say, for example, everybody's entitled to 500 quid a month, right? And if you work and you earn over 500, well, then that 500 starts to come down. So for every pound you earn over that, it comes down by 60 cents, let's say, for example. So you could still you could be working and maybe earning 400 quid a week, and they might give you 50 quid on your universal credit. Or you could be working earning 900 and you're getting nothing off them. Or you could be working earning 200 and you might get 150 off them. So it's different for everybody. Everybody gets a different rate of pay.
And like the problem in Ireland is you have people like your man last night, John, and just people like, again, it's a small minority. A lot of people who are on disability are on it for, or not even disability, but social welfare, are on it for a reason. But there is that small minority where the mum will be on disability, the dad will be on social welfare. The kids, when they turn 18, or sure, go on disability there, sign on.
Oh, it's generational. It's generational, yeah.
It is, yeah, it is. And I knew someone who worked in the post office there a few years back, and they said every single, I don't even know what day they come in, is it a Wednesday or Thursday, whatever day they come in to collect, you'd have the wife, you'd have the husband, and then you'd have the
The
kids
kids.
coming in afterwards. You'd have the kids coming in claiming carers allowance for their kid.
Sure, I had a woman on the air
Minority
going back
groups in
about
the
2
country.
years ago. I had a woman on the air. I won't say where she was from, obviously, but she was talking to us on the phone outside the post office. And the reason she was outside the post office, she was bringing her daughter up for the first day to collect her social welfare. Her daughter was only 18, had just finished claiming child benefit for her, and she signed her up for social welfare. And she also signed her up on the housing list. So, in other words, she's setting her daughter up for a life of failure.
Exactly, yeah.
For a life of failure.
And
Yeah.
the only way we can stop that is if we discourage that sort of
Fraud.
entitlement and
Yeah.
fraud. Yeah, it is fraud. Yeah, it's fraud. I mean, you can get a hearing aid because you have a hearing. You can have a wonky leg in disability social welfare.
I'm losing your line there. Sorry, Eamon.
Oh, yeah, can you hear me?
Just about. Now, hang on, man. Let me go to Margaret as well before I go to the break as well. Hang on, Margaret, you're in Ireland's Classic Hits Radio.
How are you? Are you well?
I'm well. You know yourself, Margaret. It could always be better.
You're sounding good, may I say.
Thanks, Margaret.
There's a bit of life in you tonight.
Oh, is it a bit of a pep in me step, is there?
That's the very word I'm trying to say.
I have a feeling. I've an itchy hand. I'm going to do the lotto tomorrow. I have an itchy hand.
Oh, an itchy hand, whether it be what, is it left or right?
Right.
Or right for spite.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, now, forget
Jesus,
it.
Margaret. You could have cheered me up there and said, yeah, you're going to win the lotto, Niall.
Oh, left for love, right for spite.
Do you know what you'd be listening to? By the way, if I won the lottery, do you know what you'd be listening to tomorrow night?
What?
Okay, I give you an example. Let's just say I won the lottery tomorrow. This is what you'd be listening to tomorrow night. Are you ready? Nothing, because I wouldn't be here. Sorry. Oh, Margaret, sorry. Oh, jeez, she's not going to stop talking. Margaret, would you snitch on somebody?
I won't, yeah. No problem.
Oh, there you go, Ross, see?
Yeah.
Dead right,
yeah,
Margaret,
yeah.
dead right.
No, what's right is right. My mother, God rest her soul, always said to us, you go and you work and you do an honest day's work and you get an honest day's pay.
Yeah.
And by the end of the week, you get a good wage packet, and then you can buy what you want. And if you see something in the shop and you haven't got the money for it, you save. Because when you get the money together to buy, there'd be, years ago, I always wanted a record player, right?
You can tell how old Margaret is, can't you? But go on, sorry, Margaret, go on.
Well, no, you're not far behind me.
Go on, Margaret, go on, your record player.
In August, thank you very much.
You're a young one.
Exactly, and you're only an old lad.
Margaret,
anyway,
go on about your record player. Go on. Yeah, go on.
But anyway, I saved anyway for a month, and I still have that record player still today, and I still play the record. Me vinyl records on it. So
I know.
there you see.
Yeah.
But nowadays, the young ones and the young lads, they have everything they want on a silver platter, and they have no respect for anything.
And free social welfare too, because they're scamming us.
Well, you see, the problem with this country, and I'm going to say it, they hand it out willy-nilly. And anybody can moan or groan, oh, I'm feeling a bit down on myself today, doctor. Think I'm depressed.
Well, people do get depressed, Margaret.
Of course they do. But that's young ones.
I know, but if you want to get time off work or you want to get the sick pay, you just go to the doctor and say you're feeling depressed, or you say I have a bad back. They can't not prove it. It can't just prove it. It's easy.
Well, if a person has depression, right, and the doctor has certain questions they ask people, and they know whether the person is gammon on or it's the real thing.
I don't think so. I don't think they get denied.
I don't know. The poetry has come on fantastic. Niall, many years ago, you would have said, we'd say now when I got the cancer there, right, a couple of years ago. And if it was 20 years previous, I wouldn't be talking to you tonight.
Oh, no.
But now, all has improved 100%.
Yeah.
Now you go and you get your MRIs and you get your CAT scans and all these things, and they know if you have a back problem or when you don't. It might be a muscular pain you have.
Yeah.
And then you give them muscle relaxers to ease the pain.
Jeez, Margaret's a world of knowledge, isn't she? God bless her. It's like you have a doctorate in medicine or something there, Margaret. Listen to you. You're amazing. Ross, you listen to Margaret.
Yeah.
She's as honest as the day is long. Her motto in life is do a hard day's work for a decent day's pay. And if you're going to scam the system, I'm going to rat on you. That's more or less what she's saying.
Yeah,
Sure. Each to their own. I'm not trying to tell anyone to be like me. I'm only saying, don't bother me. I worked all through COVID, and you know what? I would rather work through COVID and do a hard day's work, and do, you know what I mean? I'm one of the lucky ones. I would take all the work I done during COVID. I was on the road 5-6 days a week, and over any pup payment because I was still getting my full wages. So the people who thought they were going great on their 350 had to run out eventually.
But a lot of people suffered financially during COVID. I mean, I did, for example.
And that's why,
most people in radio did, because everybody working in media took a huge dip in their wages because radio stations were making no money.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
But did you get the pub payment, though? That's the thing,
No.
Surely you did.
No. So I was still working, so why would I get it?
Listen to the radio still, no?
Do people what?
Oh, I thought there'd be more listening.
There was. When I tell you, so here's the interesting thing about radio. It would have been great for advertisers because you're right. The numbers of people listening to radio went skyrocket for 2 years. But we couldn't take advantage of it because nobody was advertising, because there was no new movies out. The cinemas were closed. The restaurants were closed. The airlines were closed. There was no gigs on for us to advertise. So all our main advertisers, the entertainment industry and the hospitality industry, were all closed. So they weren't advertising.
Yeah. Well, that's
and there was this fear of even wanting to advertise. I remember somebody I know worked at another radio station, and they worked in sales, and they had just signed up in, I think, the October, a big campaign for a part of Ireland, let's just say the west of Ireland, for Discover Ireland, right? And it was worth 27,000. This campaign, this advertising campaign, they were delighted, a bit of commission, great. And then Leo goes on the telly and says there's going to be another lockdown, and they lost it all. That whole campaign was taken off the air again. So radio stations, they were destroyed.
Must boil your blood, Niall, does it?
Oh, it does boil my blood, yeah. Still here, but am I?
Still there, yeah.
Still hanging in.
We're up early in the morning to catch you out now, Niall.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I've gone through a death, I've gone through a divorce, I've gone through the COVID, but I'm still here every night.
You've a wardrobe full of T-shirts. You've worn every one of them.
I've got to take a break, lads. I'm way over time. I won't have a job tomorrow if I keep doing this and going late for the ad breaks. Margaret, you're wonderful. You're wonderful. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I know. At 66, the years start going. I said, you are one. It's like an episode of Faulty Towers, isn't it?
Niall Boylan, will you stop the man deaf, will you?
I said you're wonderful.
Try to fool you, Margaret.
I'm listening to you. Go on.
You're speaking over me. Please.
Oh, okay. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
What we Niall Boylan for your elders, please. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, Margaret. Do apologise.
Now, what we're going to say now, I'll give you a laugh before you go to the break.
Okay.
I said to one of my friends today, I'm going to be filthy rich in August. And she said, why? Are you getting an inheritance? I'm getting the old age pension. And what she said back to me, you wouldn't even get a night in a hotel for that. So that says it all now, doesn't it?
Margaret, thank you. It's lovely to talk to you again.
You're listening to Nighttime Talk with Niall Boylan.
With Recruit.ie. Download our job search app today. Search for Recruit.ie in your smartphone app store.
Ireland's classic hits radio.
By the way, somebody mentioned about what Margaret said about me itchy hand. She says, no, Margaret is a little bit mixed up. She is, God bless her. She is a little bit mixed up. No, she said she's a bit mixed up. Itchy ears are left for love and right for spite. An itchy hand is for money, unless, of course, you have a medical condition. So, Margaret, the itchy hand is not for spite.
Oh, sorry. I got mixed up.
It's an itchy ear. Yeah.
It's an itchy ear. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Left for love, right for spite. Yeah, I've never heard anything like it in my life. Well, stay there, Margaret, for a second. Dave, hi, how are you doing?
What's the crack?
Say hello to Margaret.
Hello, Margaret.
Have respect for your elders.
Hello.
I get itchy hands, but it's for a completely different reason.
No, Dave, you didn't have to bring that into Margaret. No, don't be misbehaving in front of Margaret. She's a lady.
Sorry,
She's a lady.
I couldn't help myself.
Dave.
Go on. Go on. You're making me happy. Go on.
Dave, you'd snitch. Would you? Would you snitch?
No, jeez, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. No. Snitches get stitches, Niall.
Snitches get stitches.
Okay. No, I wouldn't bother my arse. I honestly, I just couldn't be arse really ratting on somebody who feels kind of
too much trouble, like.
It's too much of a pain in the hole, and then sure, if you get caught ratting on them, then sure, you're known as a rat for the rest of your life, and sure, being known as a rat is one of the worst things you could be known as.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be all. It's supposed to be all anonymous if you do it, or I imagine, isn't it? They used to have a rat line years ago.
Unless you live in rural Ireland and said person has a relative who works in the offices. I've actually heard of that happening before. So,
right. Okay.
Yeah. So it's not these things. These confidential lines aren't as confidential as you think. Trust me.
Right.
But
okay.
I just think it's funny. Like the people who don't, they see as almost like this Robin Hood kind of a thing. As fair play to them. Like they're screwing the system that screws us, and then. The people who snitch then, like, I know they like to say they do it for a moralistic reason, but really they're just doing it because people are doing it and get away with it and they can't. You know what I mean? So
I don't know if that's true.
Hold on.
Hold on a minute. Then Margaret.
Hold on now. Listen to me now.
Only.
Do you not realise that people that are paying their taxes and universal social charge and all the rest,
mm-hmm.
that goes into the pot of the social welfare and everything else in the country. And they're robbing your money and Niall Boylan's money and anybody else that's a hard worker. Now, come on.
But you do also realise if we really jotted up the money on, say money that was wasted on PPE and ventilators during COVID, money that's wasted in the health service,
millions,
money that's wasted on
Dave. I've never known you to get involved in whataboutery, but you're doing it now.
Oh no, the serious whataboutery here. Yeah. No, but I'm just listen. I couldn't particularly care if somebody was doing it. I did it myself back in the day, like many other people. Once upon a time, it was one of the easiest fiddles you could do. Do you know?
Mm.
Now, hold on a second, Margaret.
Margaret, don't be judging him. Most people, hang on for a second, both of you. Margaret, don't be judging him. Most people in this country, unless they're liars, have done work for cash at some point in their life. So everybody at some point has defrauded the state.
Well, here's one for you. So I do work during the summertime making fire pits, right? It's all cash. Yeah. The taxman doesn't see a red cent of it. Should I be ratted on?
No. Look. The black economy is. Let me finish. The black economy is worth $3 to $4 billion a year, they reckon, and it's really important. Mm-hmm. The black economy. Otherwise, there's nobody going to cut your grass for a tenner at the weekend. There's nobody going to, clean your gutters. Because it wouldn't be worth their while if they had to invoice you and pay tax, right? So,
you wouldn't be getting the mother-in-law to mind the grandchildren.
Although you would, you're dead right, Margaret. You wouldn't be getting the mother-in-law to mind the grandchildren for 20 quid.
See who's doing the whataboutery now, lads? Like that's true.
Who wanted to tax it? Who wanted?
They did. That's right. They wanted the grannies to pay tax, didn't they? Yeah.
They wanted them to pay tax.
Proper order.
Come on.
No, come on.
Jeez, on one hand, she's giving out about people defrauding the state. Now she's taking up for grannies.
No, but I'm just saying, if we're all going to stand atop the moral high ground, holding hands with our noses in the air, Granny should be paying her fair bit of tax as well.
But Granny's not getting paid at all.
But some grannies do. Some grannies mind the young one down the road's child. You know what I mean?
I'm going to run for office, and that's going to be my main point. It's going to be called the granny tax.
The granny tax. No, Dave. Look, there's no doubt that everybody probably at some point has, done a bit of work for cash or whatever it is, or you don't go running to the revenue. I mean, technically speaking, if you buy something and sell it for more money than you buy it for, you're meant to run to the revenue commissioner with the profit and say, "Here's what I owe you." But nobody actually does that, right? Okay, but in saying that, we're talking about blatant fraud where you're claiming some money from the state. You know what I mean?
No, and look, to be fair, like if you really want to get down to serious about it for a second, right? I mean, that couple that was on, like, can say that neither of them have any childhood dependents, right? So they're just getting the flat rate. So she's getting the carers allowance for €330 a year. He's getting disability allowance. That's €220 a week. That's for €550 a week. Plus, if you're getting the carers allowance, you also get the
fuel allowance.
Carers. Yeah, you also get the carers support grant in June, so that's another €1,850. So you're talking, you're going.
Do you get 1,800 quid? What do you get 1,800 quid for?
So if you're on carers allowance, it's kind of the way the state says, "Hey, carers, thanks
take
for
a little holiday.
Putting up with. Thanks for. Well, a lot of people use it. Like if you have a kid with special needs, a lot of people use it for like stuff that they need that wouldn't be covered under a medical card and stuff like that, or they might use it for a holiday. Yeah, because they're carers and stuff like that.
Oh, that's right. People on a domiciliary carers allowance get that as well. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's kind of, because if you think about it, a person in care full time costs the state $75,000 a year. So it's kind of
1,800 is a drop in the ocean. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, there's the state. It's kind of the state saying, "Sound lads,"
Yeah, keep going there. Yeah.
I do understand the point where it's like, that's over $30,000 a year. Fair enough. That's not exactly the worst wage in the world. It's something you can survive on. But myself personally, I just think, like, why should we be doing their job for them? Like, the system, I will wholeheartedly agree. The social welfare system in this country, it's a fantastic social welfare system. It should never change, because I've been dependent on it myself recently, and it helped us keep our heads above the water. Do you know what I mean? But it does need to be reformed. There should be more.
Well, I did say earlier on, I was talking about the system, in Northern Ireland and the United Kingdom, which is called universal credit. They've completely abolished the social welfare system in Northern Ireland and the UK now. And the universal credit system is so much better and so much easier to work out, because it's universal for everybody. And it's based on what you earn or what you don't earn. Everybody's getting a different amount. It's not like 206 or whatever it is, or 208 or whatever the set amount at the moment is for the dole. Yeah. It's not that everybody, depending on your circumstance, depending on your payments, depending on your rates, depending on your everybody gets a different amount. And everything is connected. In other words, if you work in a job and you're part-time, the office that pay out the universal credit can see how much you earn from your tax credits, and then you that week will get whatever the top up is of your universal credit to make up your wages. So
it'd be kind of like the work and family payment here, so to speak.
Something along those lines, yes, but on a much grander scale.
Yeah, and I will agree as well. People who work, and not people who are like middle income, because the way it is in this country, right? If you're at the top, you're fine. If you're at the bottom, you're fairly fine. It's people in the middle who are usually paying out the most.
Yeah, who get an average income and are entitled to nothing.
Yeah, it's those people. There should be more supports out there for working families, because someone might say, "Geez, you're on 600 quid a week," and people might say that's a lot of money. But if you have a couple of kids, if you have a car, if you're paying high rent, it's really nothing at all. Do you know what I mean? But
no, it is. I understand.
But this thought of, like, the people on the social welfare, they're all driving around in brand new Teslas, and they're booking their tickets for suborbital flights, and they're taking all your money out of your pocket. It is a bit of a myth. It's kind of like the one about, all the asylum seekers are coming to take your jobs, and
they've all got free cars from the States. Yeah, no, I know. Listen, Dave and Margaret, I've run out of time. I do apologise to both of you. Thank you very much, and good luck to you both.
Real people, real opinions, Real Talk Radio. The multi-award winning Niall Boylan Show.